Good morning. I want to talk to you about something sad this morning, if you'll allow me to do that. My son went to Liberty University, and I've always had a lot of respect for the college. I was a follower of Jerry Falwell Sr., and there's a lot of talk, obviously, going on right now about the recent scandal and his resignation from Liberty. And I want to talk to you this morning very transparently and candidly about how do we react to this as Christians. Now, people are prone to react in different ways. Sometimes it's almost as if they enjoy it because it makes them feel better about their own sins, about their own self. It says, well, I would never do anything that bad. And so I feel a little bit better about what I'm doing over here. And that's a horrendous attitude. And some people, they find something, it's something to talk about, and it just kind of fills up a little bit of an empty life, and it's just some kind of new fad and this kind of thing. But I want to read you what really should be our reaction. You recall when David sinned with Bathsheba, and Nathan showed up and he gave him the little parable about the man who stole the little sheep, and he said, "You're the man." And what did he respond? He responded with that he had sinned against God. It was true, because the Psalms tells us that against thee and thee only have I sinned in Psalms 51. And so, but I want to read to you what Nathan said to David. The Lord has put away your sin, you shall not die. I'm not saying that's applicable to Jerry Falwell Jr. I'm just saying I want you to listen to what he said to David. However, because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme. You've given occasion to the enemies of God to blaspheme. And that's the sadness. I can remember when Jimmy Swaggart's face was on the front of Time magazine. I remember when Jim and Tammy Baker were exposed for all that was going on there. And I would hear it in different places, the buzz. And I would think, how much damage has been done? But yet, on the other hand, I don't have to think bad about Jerry Falwell Jr. He'll reap the consequences for everything he's done. It won't matter how much he's done for that school or how much he's invested his life in it. What are people going to remember for the rest of his life, basically? The scandal. You realize what it's done to his children. I think he has a son. I don't know if he has more children than that or not, but that they'll carry that stigma for the rest of their lives of what a parent did. Now, it should break our hearts what has happened, but it also should remind us that we too have this sin within our mortal bodies, this body of sin that Paul tells us, as we're studying in Romans, that we are to crucify. This old nature, this tendency to be led by the desires of the flesh instead of by the wooing of the Spirit. And it ought to make us realize, if it were not by the grace of God, as Paul said, I could be that person. That I'm only what I am because of the grace of God. So we should feel that we as a body of Christ have a great problem in front of us to pray that God will restore the damage that's been done. Pray for those people that are a part of this scandal, which would be Jerry Falwell himself, his wife, and everybody else that's concerned. That God, you would minister to them with your grace and your love, because God, you reap what you sow. You can't change that. But nevertheless, that God, in some way, you would use this, because sin is something that is still allowed by you. It doesn't mean that you don't ever tempt anybody, and you were never behind any of this, obviously. But you can still use it. Let it be used to make us closer to God. but also let it be used to break our hearts, that we would be the people you've called us to be, and pray for every single person that hears this, that they would focus their eyes upon the loving Christ and not upon people who fall, and simply have mercy for them and ask God for his mercy for us. God bless you. Have a great day.